Dan kami sudah pun menerima isyarat mengenai sidang media khas oleh Datuk Seri Liow, Tiong dan kita terus ke sana untuk melihat perincian laporan awal siasatan MH17.
Okay, thank you very much for all the media friends. The Malaysian government would like to thank the Dutch Safety Board in particular and all other nations who have helped us during this challenging time. The report which was just released by the Dutch Safety Board is a preliminary report. It's a factual report, and a comprehensive report will be issued in approximately in a year's time. Our Malaysian experts were part of the Dutch Safety Investigation Board team, in addition to experts from the Netherlands, Ukraine, Russia and the United Kingdom and the US, with further assistance from experts of many other nations. It is heartening to see the outpouring of support from the international community, and it indeed reflects the brotherhood of our nation, especially during times of distress. Mass flight MH17 departed Amsterdam Airport Schiphol in the Netherlands at 10:31 hours on the scheduled passenger flight to KLIA. The investigations confirmed that the MAS crew were qualified to conduct the flight and that the aircraft was in airworthy conditions. Based on the preliminary finding, to date, no indications of any technical or operational issues were found with the aircraft or crew prior to the ending of the CVR and the flight data recorder at 13:20:03 hours. The damage observed in the forward sections of the aircraft appears to indicate that the aircraft was penetrated by a large number of high-energy objects from the outside the aircraft. It is likely that this damage resulted in a loss of structural integrity of the aircraft, leading to an in-flight breakup. At the time of the occurrence, the aircraft was flying in unrestricted airspace under control of ATC, following the route and flying the altitude as cleared by air traffic control tower. The last radio transmission made by the crew began at 13:19:56 hours and ended at 13:19:59 hours. No oral warnings or alerts of the aircraft system malfunctions were heard on the cockpit voice recording, which ended at 13:20:03 hours. Crew communications gave no indication that there was anything abnormal with the flight. The last transmissions from the crew of MH17 was Romeo, November, Delta, Malaysian 17. Air Traffic Control Center made a radio transmission to flight MH17, which began at 13:20 hours and ended at 13:20:05 hours. The crew did not respond to the repeated transmission. No distress message were received at any time by the Air Traffic Control Tower. Data from the flight data recorder and the digital cockpit voice recorder both stopped at 13:20:03 hours abruptly. The crash site to this date is still an area of conflict. I would like to stress here that the crash site is a criminal investigation area, and it is imperative that we protect the integrity of the crash site and allow the investigation to proceed. The Malaysian government, led by Prime Minister Dr. Seri Abdul Razak, is striving to facilitate the process of moving into the crash site to locate the remains as well as the personal effects that are still at the crash site, if any. I call upon the international community and all those involved in the Ukraine conflict to seek justice and find the perpetrators who caused this brutal act of aggression. As we mourn the loss of all 298 passengers and crew, we will not relent until those responsible are brought to justice. Our thought and prayers are with the families of the passengers and crew. Thank you. Any questions on the floor? Most of the remains are brought back. As we can see that we have actually identified 35 of Malaysians out of 43. So there are still 9 more remains that we need to locate and identify.
So what have we learned so far from this preliminary report?
This preliminary report clearly show that our aircraft, Malaysia Airlines, is airworthiness, and it is healthy, and the crew is qualified. There's no problem with the aircraft, and the aircraft was hit by an object outside the aircraft.
So I'm just wondering, would this be enough to actually initiate whatsoever prosecution that you have in mind, and what is necessary?
Since this is a preliminary report, we want to have a further study on this report and further analyze the data. We need to further analyze the data, the cockpit voice recorder, the flight data recorders. We have to have a forensic on the wreckage, analyze the wreckage. We have to make sure that we have the pathology report of our victims, the passengers, and also the crew. We have to actually analyze many more data before we can have a conclusive finding to bring the perpetrator to justice.
Datuk Seri, have you told the family members about this report?
The report was just released just now, and definitely we will relate to the family members of our findings. Yes. Ini laporan awal dan mengikut pihak pakar penyiasat, mereka akan keluarkan laporan dalam tempoh 1 tahun. Yes, please.
One of the main questions remains: who is responsible, and do you want to pinpoint accusation?
That's the reason why we have to further analyze the report, and we need to further enter the crash site. Our Prime Minister is working closely with the international community so that we can actually have a safe passage into the crash site and to further investigate the wreckage as well as to bring out the remains at the crash site.
When the investigators said a complete report will be out in a year's time, would there be any in between?
We do not know. We do not know if there is any more further reports on this. But as we know that the investigation continue from here, and we need further analysis on the data. As I mentioned just now, we have to continue to analyze the cockpit voice recorder, the flight data recorders. We have to have a forensic study on the wreckage. We have to make sure that the pathologist record are all with us, as well as we also need to further study the crash site.
Since you said it's a large object outside, does that mean it might not be a missile?
Pardon?
You said several objects outside, right? Can it not be a missile?
As the report stated very clearly, it was hit by a very high energy object from outside inwards, and that caused a structural breakup of the plane. So we will have to take that and we have to further analyze that, whether it's a missile or details, and that is definitely the report will have to indicate when we analyze the finding later.
How long do you think it will take the international evaluation team to get the final result?
That's the reason why we urging the international community to assist, and also the Ukraine government to help to ensure that we have a safe passage to the crash site, so that we can analyze and actually we can collect more data and to quickly come up with detailed findings. And this is important for us. We hope also to enter the crash site to bring out if there is any more remains of any personal effects that we can bring out from the crash site.
Just a follow-up on the question about the high energy objects. In your opinion or the government's intelligence, what are likely to be these high energy objects? Apart from missile, are there any other things that
As I mentioned just now, I can't speculate. The report stated very clearly, this is a factual report. This is a very detailed report that we have, and we have to base on this report to announce to the public. So it is confirmed it's a high energy object hitting the plane, and it is from outside in, and that caused the plane structural breakup, and it break up in the air. So it's break up in the air, and that's why the wreckage is dispersed over an area of 10 kilometers. It is a very widespread areas.
Dr. Seri, what is the progress with the pathology reports? Have there been any of these high energy objects recovered from the body?
Yeah, that's why I say that in this preliminary report, it recommends that we further analyze the pathology report. So there are a lot of analysis to continue from here, to pick up from here. So definitely the pathology report will help us in this investigation. Yes.
No one has claimed responsibility. Are you confident that you'll be able to find the culprit? And also, if the plane is accidentally shot down, what is the legal recourse for the family?
Yeah, definitely we need to get to the bottom of this. There's a reason why we need to find out more details. Example, any wreckage that we can salvage and analyze, or maybe we can have to reconstruct the plane from the wreckage to analyze detail of the accident. So as I've said, we will try our best to find out the culprits.
If it's accidentally shot down, is there a legal recourse? Is there a legal recourse?
Or somebody have to be responsible for this accident. If somebody should have pressed a button to shot down the plane. So we would like to find out who is the person. And that's why we are in the process, and we get international help. Malaysia are not doing this alone. We are getting the assistance from Australia, from Dutch, and there are many more other countries who come in and help.
Dr. Seri, what was the last communication from the pilot to the ATC?
As I reported just now, is 13:59 hours, and the last word is Romeo.
What did he say?
Yes?
What did he say?
It's very clear reported. Romeo November Delta Malaysian 17.
Before that, there was nothing suspicious?
No, everything is normal flight, As you can see that they are talking about the flight height, they're talking about the flight details, and it's just a normal conversation from the ATC to the pilot. Yeah.
So was there any, since the plane was hit by objects outside the plane, the digital voice, the cockpit voice recorded something like a sound of the explosive or something, and was any of this the current?
The cockpit voice recorder clearly that we download shows that it is abruptly stopped. Abruptly, you see, they are actually talking. The pilot is talking and abruptly stopped.
So there was no sound of explosive or something like that. Who the pilot was talking to?
You know, it's definitely the ATC. The air control tower is actually communicating with the pilot. Yeah.
Datuk, was there any information that the Air India had communicated with MH17? Air India, which was
No.
there was no report in the.
No.
Will Malaysia want to bring, when the culprits are will Malaysia want to bring back extradited and face trial in this country, or you don't mind going to ICC?
Now, most important now, we want the finding. We want the result of this investigation. So once we can determine the culprits, then we will definitely we will demand justice and we will bring them to the arbitration or to the court. It can be international court, it can be Malaysian court. Okay? Thank you very much. Terima kasih. I want to show you. This is a report. This is a preliminary report issued just now. And we have gone through it in details. Okay, terima kasih. Thank you.